Let's see.
Gentlemen, and everything in between, friends, viewers, listeners, people downloading this later on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and even maybe checking this out on a clip on the Podcast Clips channel. How are you guys doing this evening? What's the happy haps? What's going on? Have we all had a good week, or at least a passable week? A week that hasn't caused you too much drama? Or certainly less drama than we're all enjoying or enduring in the news that passes for news in this formerly Great Britain. What's going on? What are the news stories that have caught your eye this week? Is there anything that leaps to mind? Anything that you've looked at, you've balked at, you've been floor-jawed in response to? You're like, Jesus Christ! I mean, I thought last week was bad, but this week is okay. We're doing this now. Oh wait, any news stories like that? I've had a couple of moments this week. Donald Trump lambasting the South African leader who came to visit him at the White House. That was that was a bit weird. Like, have you ever invited somebody into your house as a guest and then presented them with the evidence for the problem that you have with them, but the evidence is just disinformation? It's just absolute nonsense. Have you ever had that situation? Because Donald Trump had that situation this week. Invited a guest into his house and then showed him some lunacy. He was like, oh, what have you got to say about this then? And the South African leader was like, I don't know. Like, where did you get that? Like, it's like, do you know what I imagine it's like? It's like imagine you are a psychotherapist and you've got, one-on-one therapy with maybe one of your schizo-disaffected psychiatric inpatients or something, and then you have a group exercise or whatever, and you say, okay, like, everyone write down your actual issue, or describe to me what the problem is, and then they hold up a picture to you, and you're expecting it to be like them on a chair in the corner of their childhood bedroom, looking lonely, them missing their dad or something, some sort of trauma, some sort of neglect, and instead they just hold up a picture and it's like, you want to know why I always hear these voices? You want to know why I'm always so depressed and anxious? What do you have to say about this, Mr. 5 Degrees? And you're like, good Lord, Jimmy. I mean, I am your psychiatrist. I know I'm not supposed to judge you, but why on earth would you ever draw a picture of Russ Abbott bumming a cat? Like, it's not even... What is this? This is nonsense. This is lunacy, Mr. Trump. So that was fun. That was fun. I mean, it's always sad. It's always a sad moment when the mental deterioration of the older generation is on full display and becomes inarguable that it is actually affecting their life, their role, their job. It's never a happy time when that happens. And it's extra concerning, I think, when it's the President of the United States in the White House sharing internet disinformation. Like, what are you going to say about this? Paul goes like, I don't know. That looks like Zambia. That's not even South Africa. Like, where did you get this? So that was fun. That was concerning. Another story that caught my eye. It's not particularly funny. It's sort of tragic, really. Which was that the Israeli state, the Israeli government, appear to have thrown shade, I believe the kids say. I don't know. They appear to have laid some blame for the shooting, for the murder of those two Israeli embassy employees, a young man and a young woman, which is obviously very tragic. And they were murdered by somebody that was shouting the phrase "Free Palestine," and apparently at time of recording, he had shared a lot of social media posts about Israel committing genocide, and because the French Prime Minister, Emmanuel Macron, because is he a Prime Minister or a President? Completely, I've had such a brain fart now. Anyway, Macron, Keir Starmer, Mark Carney from Canada, all of them put on a united front. They signed the same letter and they said, basically you need to wind this fucking thing up now, Benji. This is getting really... I mean, look, we all like invading countries for our own ends, Just spool back a bit. Afghanistan, Iran, the air bombing in Libya, which would have been a full-scale invasion if there had been political support for it. So we're all, we're not blameless here. We all like a good time, don't we? In the Western military-industrial complex. But it's time to wind this up now, Benji. It's getting out of hand. We all like a good time, but you're taking things too far. And then these two young embassy resources get shot, dead. And this representative from the Israeli state is like, this is like Keir Starmer and Macron's fault for emboldening terrorists, emboldening the terror group that did this. And I'm like, what? Hang on a second. Just hang on a moment. Are we seriously being expected to believe that this guy was like a fine citizen, law-abiding citizen, and never done anything wrong? He wasn't radicalized or anything. He doesn't have friends and family, possibly in Gaza, who have been blown to bits or had their fucking legs blown off, or the kids killed, or aid being restricted, journalists murdered. That this guy, he was fine. He was fine before. And then, after years of selling weapons to Israel, after years of blindly supporting Israel, Keir Starmer turns around and goes, do you know what? We need to really take stock of this thing, Benji, and you've had your fun. Now it's time to wind it up. And at that point, this guy was like, oh my God, I like the measured language. I like the civility of it. Do you know what I'm going to do, though? I'm going to take that and run with it. That was the catalyst that I needed to make me go doink and just fucking run up in there with an AK-47. That was the catalyst that radicalized me, was Keir Starmer with his posh tongue and his nice suit, calmly, collectively with Macron and Carney saying, yes, can you just wind it down? That was the moment that this gentleman was radicalized. Not the murder of his family, the genocide, the years of apartheid, of suffering, of being disparaged, of all of the other shit I said before. The genocide, the restriction of aid. None of that had any bearing. It was when Keir Starmer. So it might be the first time that a Keir Starmer speech has ever inspired anyone, if that was true. Imagine operating as the Israeli state at the moment and just forgiving yourself of all of that death and pain and suffering, the genocide, absolving yourself of all that responsibility and the ill feeling that it will cause, has caused, and will continue to cause for generations still. Like, people aren't, even if they did a ceasefire today and they said, okay, like, you guys have Gaza, there would be ill feeling for like 50 or fucking 100 years off the back of this. Imagine having perpetuated that situation, and then on the rare occasion that somebody connected to that world does fight back. And by the way, I'm not advocating, I'm not saying, oh, well, you know, you get what you pay for, or, you know, it was to be expected. Like, killing is killing. Killing is wrong. You can't solve killing with more killing, okay? As I was saying online earlier. But to completely absolve yourself of all responsibility with it is really like... It's like the mentality of like a 14-year-old fucking American teenager or something, you know? Where like one of their friends says like, listen, Shelly, I've been meaning to talk to you about something. Like, me and a couple of the girls are growing really concerned about, like, you borrowed $20 off me, and then you borrowed $17 off Jane the other day, right, Jane? And Jane's like, uh-huh. And anyway, we just like, you never pay us back, and you never get a round in at the thing, and round in. She's like 14. Think it through, 8. But you get the point, right? So they're all like explaining their issue with her. And instead of listening to any of the substance, this 14-year-old American teenager is like, you're just jealous. That's your problem. I've always seen it. You're only jealous of how amazing I am. It's like, isn't it that? It's completely that mentality. It's complete, like, you're not listening to any of the substance. You're not taking any accountability whatsoever. There's no compassion, no empathy. I saw an interview the other day. I forget who it was with now. Like, maybe it's fake news. I don't know. I haven't checked it out yet to see if it is legit. So maybe I should just shut my fucking mouth before I get myself in trouble for perpetuating my own disinformation. To you, I mean, you're not strangers. You're my visitors. You're coming into my White House right now, and I'm holding up my own disinformation poll. Oh, what do you think about this? But I saw a clip the other day where it was somebody quite clearly, if not representing the Israeli state, then very much supporting their campaigning strategy at the moment. And they said that basically every child in Gaza, every Palestinian baby even, is to be considered a potential terrorist. All of those babies will also grow up to be Hamas terrorists. That is the mentality that they're dealing with here, and they absolve themselves of all responsibility. This representative of the Israeli state or cheerleader of the Nethanayahu regime, that is the mentality that they're rocking. And it's like, God, even for like, even if you're going to be that sociopathic about it, wouldn't you like look at it from a self-preservation perspective? You know, sometimes you hear about that with like psychotherapists, psychiatrists. Again, it's like when they're dealing with sociopaths, when they're dealing with psychopaths, which I learned yesterday, according to my missus, the difference there is one is not empathetic through neglect and trauma in childhood. The other one is born with a chemical imbalance or chemical problem. But if you're, you know, the end result's the same, right? If you're dealing with a sociopath or a psychopath, you're supposed to convince them to operate like an empathetic individual, if only for self-preservation reasons, right? So in that regard, like, wouldn't it be more sensible for the Israeli state to be like, okay, look, you know, we really don't want to just give them their land back. However, out of self-preservation, the fact we don't want to be, you know, have our kids kidnapped, we don't want to be dealing with bombs all the time, we would quite like to not have to buy all of these expensive weapons every fucking month. Wouldn't it be better just for self-preservation if we just fucking calmed it fucking down a bit, Benji? Jesus. But not like they don't even consider that. There's very much like the sociopath going on over there. But B, whenever anyone else suggests it, doesn't even demand it. When another political leader, a Macron, a Carney, a Starmer, suggest it, then not only are they ignored, not only are they still not absolved, still not taking on any responsibility and not taking any accountability, then the blame for the fucking shit gets heaped on these people who are telling you to calm it down. It's so fucking arse backwards and horrible and shit. Let's move on. Because something I want to discuss this evening, something I want to raise with you beautiful people, listeners, viewers, people of the booge, this week was the week where, and I don't want to go patting myself on the back too much, be too crass about it. But yes, once again, this week, a prediction that we laid out on this show and indeed on the morning paper reviews. That prediction has been proven to be, once again, 100% right, guys. 100% right. Why can't I win the lottery? Politics, got it nailed. Lottery numbers, jury's still out, I'm afraid. But this prediction that we got right on this show, of course, joins the prediction of the return of Nigel Farage being unveiled right at the beginning of the last general election campaign last year. Predicted that. Bang on. The Donald Trump election win. Both of them. Bang on. The Brexit referendum result. Put a bet on that on Betfair Politics. Bang on. The frightfully short honeymoon period that Starmer would enjoy were he successful at the general election. Yes, also bang on. And now, guys, this latest prediction that we made not 2 weeks ago, I am now going to predict the future again. So yeah, that's my prediction for you guys this morning. At the moment, Labour are on 22 points. I think in the next week or 10 days, when the polling output from this PR campaign can be measured, I think paradoxically, rather than it improving their polling, it will send them down from 22 down to like 20, maybe 19 points. And the key beneficiaries of that, I think that the Lib Dems and the Greens will pick up those votes. The prediction was that off the back of the Reform Light Island of Strangers nonsense, that Labour would actually lose polling off that speech by Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper doing the rounds. She's Home Secretary. She was banging on about how she has to bring net migration down. So on the 12th of May, I said that is what is going to happen. That off the back of the press conference, off the back of all of that stuff, that big press campaign that was leaked out to the press ahead of time, like run up to the local elections, they were like, as soon as we lose all these council seats, we're probably going to go really hard on immigration because we would have just ceded loads of stuff. So then they did go really hard on immigration. And I predicted that the left-leaning voters, if they were phoned up and polled by all of the polling companies, or if they were stopped in the street, basically they would respond to it like, no, thanks. No, don't like that at all, actually. I'm not sure what your strategy is, but I'm not interested in that. I voted for change, actually, in case you're forgetting what your campaign slogan was. I voted for change. I didn't vote for this fucking cynical end of the Peer Tribute Act, did I? I'd like a pro-immigration voice in Parliament for a change, if that's okay. And I said that the Lib Demi types, your sort of centre-left Labour types and your Green Party types, still within the Labour Party, your more progressive, momentum-y types, said that they would all go to Green and Lib Dems, or they would start to. And you would see like a point drop or 2 points drop on Labour polling. Meanwhile, the anti-immigration voters, were they to be phoned up and polled or stopped in the street or asked to click yes or no on an internet poll that feeds these YouGov and BMG and More in Common and Ipsos polls, I said that the anti-immigration types, they would continue to run towards Farage. And now, this week, I mean, you know, I want to say like, oh man, I hate being right, but I quite like it. I quite like being right. I'm not going to lie. I am a bit smug, but it is very much smugness that is dripping with contempt for Labour's strategist, because it's a bit like I know they've had a good week in other respects. I know they've had a good week with, PMQs, with a comment that Starmer made about Farage being first through the E-gates, the passport E-gates to get to France. I thought that was quite funny. I thought that was quite good. Because a part of the EU reset that they've been working on is that you could now use the E-gates at passport control. Right? So it's like no more big passport queues for being a third country. All of that. And Nigel Farage is on holiday this week. So it's quite a funny, little jibe there, I thought. So that was quite good. And now there's a bit of talk buzzing around that they're going to let a few more people keep the winter fuel allowance. So that's good as well. That's positive. But don't rob me of my endorphins, guys, from the bad stuff. And they still, let's not let them off the hook, right? They still came out front and centre and said, no more carers. No more carers' visas against the backdrop of an industry of social care that is starved of staff. It needs international carers. And they still came out and said, yeah, we've got to bring net migration down. Why? Don't know. But we're going to cancel all of the carers' visas. They still did that. That is still a thing. They still got criticised across the journosphere for going a bit ENOCH, right? Nobody's rode back on that. That's still a thing. And before any of this new stuff this week, the EU reset, the letter to Benjamin Netanyahu, the joke at Nigel Farage's expense, before any of that good stuff, when people were being polled just off the back of the immigration-y ENOCH stuff, they said, here's the More in Common poll. Okay, so this was collected last week in the days after that press conference and the breakfast appearances by Yvette Cooper prosecuting the need, the case for a net migration reduction. So that says Labour down 3 points off the back of that. 3 points down that week. So says More in Common. This next one is YouGov. It says Labour down 1 point that same week. Greens and Lib Dems both gained a point. Good week for the Greens and the Lib Dems, guys. Labour, not so much. Off the back of that press conference, of those policies. And so now the question is, dear viewers, people of the Booge, now the question is, actually there's 3 questions, isn't there? Question 1, what the fuck? Question 2, as ever, is if we, you and me, people, smart people that tune into this show every week. Every Friday night, 7:30. Usually live. Not tonight because I'm out seeing a friend. Aww. But yeah, question 2 is if we can all see this coming a fucking mile off, why oh why can't Morgan McSweeney? Why can't Keir Starmer? Question 3. Third question of 3 is which route do they go now? You know, do they recognize this? These polls? Down 3 points? Do they understand that it was a turn-off? Does that make sense to them? Are they able to perceive that, to take that in? Do they switch tack and go, if not progressive, then just a little bit, settle down a bit? Is it going to take a signed letter from 3 other world leaders to go like, all right, come on, Starmer, you've had your fun. Just wind it down a bit, kid. Like, how hard does the authoritarianism have to go in British politics before Mark Carney, Emmanuel Macron, and a couple of others write him a shitty letter? So do they recognize it? Are they going to switch tack? Are they going to adjust their policy portfolio specifically with the immigration stuff and provide something resembling the change that we all voted for? Are they going to do that? Are they going to stop trying to placate the political maws of an undiagnosed Fleet Street? We're running around rabid and frenzied, and they'll never like you whatever you do, whatever the policy is, however hard or dark it gets. They're never going to like you, Keir. We've been through this. So do they switch tack, guys? Or do they do what they definitely, obviously are about to do? Which is the whole, well, we get it, we get it, I get it, people, we get it, you expect more and more quickly. We'll pretend to be Nigel more, won't we, guys? More, faster, better, harder, more. Like, is that seriously the lesson that they're going to take from this? Because all signs point to yes. I don't know, man. Cheers, by the way. Hope people are in like the sort of live chats, comment thing. Hope you guys are all tuning in, having a laugh. I'm sorry I can't be here in person. This is very much my, my like Hollywood statuette acceptance bit. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person, but thank you so much for this. Anyway, happy Friday to you guys. I did think it was funny, though, seeing Farage on his holidays. In what must be the most significant week for him, for his favourite subject, which is Brexit, right? Since the height of all of that hysteria, since all the parliamentary votes, maybe since the actual referendum, right? Because it's kind of the nearest we've gotten so far to kind of undoing it or addressing some of the damage that it caused. It's a big week for him, but he's out. He's just out on his holiday. It was Keir Starmer, David Lammy, team of negotiators. They're all out there thawing relations. Like, maybe, we might be getting freedom of movement, kind of, ish, back for the kids, right? For the youngsters, 18 to 35, I think it is. We'll be able to travel and work and live on the continent again. They've got trade, logistics, negotiators. They're working out the trade element. It's a big thing, right? Undoing Brexit, fixing the damage that Brexit visited upon us. And this motherfucker, Nigel Farage, is like, you know what? Might take the week off, to be honest. Half his team are like, well, what? What? Now you're taking a week off this week. This one. Like, it's not recess, right? It's not a time, really, for you to go on holiday. It's not just like any old week, yeah? He's like, yeah, just fancy a break from it all, though. They're like, right, but it's fucking EU reset week, Mr. Farage. It's immigration. It's rebuilding trade. Like, I'd have thought you'd have something to say about it. Or at the very least, you wouldn't want to give your political adversaries the optics of you just fucking off. Like Farage absent. He doesn't care. He's off on his jollies while you work. He's off in Europe. Especially after you criticised other politicians for taking off when they should be working. Like, what was the thing he said? He criticised Rishi Sunak for leaving early at the D-Day thing. Do you remember that? There was the whole thing where he bashed Boris Johnson for not sticking. Like, Boris took one of his many holidays, and Farage was like, no, he should be sorting out Brexit. So I would have thought you, of all people, Mr. Farage, would have stuck around in this week of all weeks. Like, you can't just run off to the beach when you are literally at the pinch point of your job's moment to live up to. You're not fucking Dominic Raab. Like, oh, what's happening over in Afghanistan? Well, look, I've got a 1:00 appointment with the boogie board team. He's like fascism's equivalent of Axl Rose can't be asked to perform at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Axl Rose is like, God damn it, I'm just not in the mood. There's a marathon on TCS, man. You're like, Axl Rose, it's the Hall of Fame. It's the pinnacle. This is your moment, Axl. I mean, I think Nigel Farage probably cares a little bit more than Axl Rose. I really don't think Axl Rose gives a flying fuck, does he? I remember, like, they were performing with Metallica one year. Sorry, going way off the politics here. Don't know if you guys are aware of this or if you're musos. I know a few of you are, like I am. But I remember watching, I think it was a VH1 documentary where Metallica and Guns N' Roses were doing a North American tour together. And Metallica, one of them had like burnt their arm or broken their arm or something, so they couldn't perform. So there was a lot of attention on Metallica. And Axl Rose, being the fucking weird narcissist that he is, he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle the amount of attention and underdogness that there was to Metallica. So then the following night, he just refused to turn up. Just didn't want to perform. He was like, no. They've got all the limelight. Why don't they go out? Do the show. Do the show all by yourself. As you're such a big fucking big shot asshole with your broken arm. Fuck you. It's like a Will Ferrell character, isn't it? Except it's real. Except that is actually Axl Rose. That's who he is. Or at least who he was. Maybe he's chilled out now a bit. Maybe 3 political leaders wrote him a letter too. Oh, guys, what time is it? It's the week in MAGA. The week in MAGA. Yes, it is. We haven't done a week in MAGA for a couple of weeks, have we? And you would think in that time I would have found a small window to create a proper jingle for it, but no, I've actually been really fucking busy, guys. So drop the judgment, all right? And actually, do you know what? I sort of fancy myself as a bit of a session musician vocalist. I think I'm rocking it. You know, the week in MAGA. How about that shit? There's some Rock and Roll Hall of Fame shit for Axl. Axl Rose, eat your heart out. And the 5 fucking deep fried burgers. Have you seen the picture of Axl Rose this week? I mean, I don't want to, body shame people. I don't want to fat shame people. Can you say fat shame or is it body shame? I don't know. But it's actually quite striking. Like, look at this shit. It's like, I know we all get old. I know we don't all stay, you know, like the young, slender, slithery entity that Axl Rose once was. I know we don't all stay like that forever, but it's, you know, he's not looking great, is he? Because that is a sweet double caramel fried and icing on top child of mine, isn't it? That's what that is. Like, Axl Rose is one of those pop culture titans, isn't he? Where he was like the biggest star on the planet for like a few years, like from 92 maybe to 94. Like, they had a really short run, Guns N' Roses. But while they were big, they were really fucking big. He was like one of the most famous men on the planet. And then it just all went downhill, didn't it? And Slash went off and did his own thing, Slash's Snake Pit. And Axl Rose just sort of fell out of and then he reconstructed Guns N' Roses. They went touring, but it was just him and, like, I think Dizzy, the keyboardist. The rest of them had completely fucked him off. They were like, fuck Axl, what a fucking bellend. I read a thing once, I don't know if this is true, but I read a thing that he brought a groupie into the recording studio and had sex with her on the microphone, like, so that the rest of the band would have to hear him having sex. Like, kind of gross, weird, like, narcissistic stuff like that. And then the thing, like, with the Metallica, like, just refusing to perform, the whole thing erupted into a riot. I forgot to mention that. The fact that he didn't perform, that whole crowd went apeshit and fucking fires, assaults. Not a great gig, I don't think, that one. I've been to some bad gigs, but that sounded horrendous. But anyway, yeah, he's one of those pop culture icons from that period where I kind of like to imagine that he died in 1994, you know? You know, and it's not to wish death upon him. I hope he's happy. I hope he's living a really great life and he's still got his money, and I hope he's got a lovely woman that he's married to and he loves her. And he's got kids now, maybe. I don't know. I wish him nothing but the best. But pop culture-wise, art-wise, I like to imagine that he died when he was like 34 or something, because everything after that's been fucking atrocious. And I suppose it's like, you know, the flame that burns brightest burns out quickest, or whatever that saying is. I suppose there's an element of that to it. Is if somebody's got a lot of talent and a lot of charisma, for how long realistically could they stay like right at the top of their game? But yeah, I saw a similar comment once about Eddie Murphy. Like, I like to imagine that he died in like 1993. Like, and it's so morbid. It's not like wishing death on them. It's not. I promise, it's not. Wish nothing but the best for Eddie Murphy and his millions of dollars and the no doubt harem of beautiful women that he still enjoys daily. But it's just like his best work as a stand-up, as a movie actor, the SNL period. His best work was done and behind him by the time he was like 35. I like to imagine that he popped his clogs, that it was over at that point. Then you get to have the whole tragic icon thing. Oh, man, you know, we lost him too early. Think of all of the other stand-up specials that we could have had. All of those laughs that we could have had if Eddie Murphy had just survived beyond his 35th birthday. You know, rather than the shit truth, the shit reality, which was like, he did his stand-up and it was good. It was really funny. It's very dated now, but it was very, very funny. You know, top tier, like top 1 or 2, top 3 stand-ups of all time. And his movies were all right up into like maybe Boomerang, like that kind of period. But then, you know, let's not kid ourselves here, guys. Nobody's calling Norbert or The Haunted Mansion a fucking classic. I'm like, get the fuck out of it. They're terrible movies. Terrible. And every year that motherfucker pops up on like, Jimmy Kimmel or something. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to get back into stand-up. I'm going to do it. And the whole crowd goes, oh, it's amazing. Oh, Eddie's going to come back to stand-up. You Google him a month later to see if any stand-up has appeared. Is it leaked? Is there any footage of it? Like, I'm so excited about the Eddie Murphy stand-up. And the only thing that comes up on Google is like some news story. Eddie Murphy has signed on to be the lead in a biopic called Jonathan Brown and the Cantankerous Flobberwobbles. And you're like, no, Eddie. Oh, I wish you had died in 1994. I really do. No, not really. Not really. Of course, I don't wish death upon Eddie Murphy. I don't think anyone does. I don't think anybody wishes death on Eddie. Well, maybe Mel B. Maybe. I don't think they like each other that much, do they? Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? Right, okay, so we've gone way off on a tangent here. The Week in MAGA. I wanted to talk tonight about Marjorie Taylor Greene, if we've got time still, after that little, 90-degree turn. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been in the news again this week because she is campaigning for the release of Derek Chauvin. I mean, of all the causes to take up as a Republican, what is she, a congresswoman? As a Republican representative, whatever the fuck it is that she is, of all the causes to take up, why the fuck would you campaign? Why would you waste your political capital campaigning and lobbying for the release of the guy that killed the guy that sparked the Black Lives Matter movement? Like, that is what this guy is in jail for. He was jailed for 22 years because he stamped on and kicked and suffocated George Floyd. And the jury convicted him. They've sent him down for 2 decades. But because the United States is ostensibly in a kind of like, like it was a Cold War back in the 80s with the USSR, with the Soviet Union. Well, the US is currently in a sort of Cold War state, but it's like a race war. So you've got Donald Trump and the white nationalists and the Nazis and the people who wank themselves limp when they see somebody like Elon Musk, who comes from apartheid South Africa, doing goose steps and Nazi salutes and shit. You got the Proud Boys, probably the KKK, Steve Bannon, and probably a couple of others, right? So you got the white nationalist lot over here, and then you've got the progressives, the Democrats, normal people, sane people over here who just want like a rules-based system and not too much racism. I mean, it's still America, right? There's always going to be a bit of racism. They're okay with a bit of racism, but that's them over there. So you got a sort of very polite, slightly bubbling up, lots of tension there, kind of race war going on. And this feeds directly into that. Like, if you're a Georgia representative, if you're Marjorie Taylor Greene, you could expend political capital and your resources in your office, both in Georgia and in DC. You could expend resources improving people's lives, doing something worthwhile, improving society. You could do that. But there's a couple of problems with that. Number one is you lack the intellect to be able to actually find solutions to I don't have any solutions to the problems either. I don't. The problems that we face are truly terrifying. Climate change, fossil fuels, all of it is horror. We've been through this, guys. But Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't have the intellect to even understand that there are problems out there. Marjorie Taylor Greene just wants to surf that zeitgeist of this polite culture war, Cold War, race war thing. And this is perfect for that. If she campaigns for the release of Derek Chauvin, I hope I'm saying his name right, that feeds into it, doesn't it? Because it's going to piss off the lefties and it emboldens the far right. So that's why she's doing it. She said, I strongly support Derek Chauvin being pardoned and released from prison. The MAGA congresswoman posted on X, adding her voice to a growing MAGA push for his release. George Floyd died of a drug overdose, she says. Although, interestingly, like, it took me 2 seconds to ask ChatGPT this. I said, what was the actual cause of death for George Floyd? What did he die of? GPT says, official autopsy, Cause of death, cardiopulmonary arrest, complicating law enforcement, subdual, restraint, and neck compression. Manner of death, homicide. It says the report mentioned underlying health conditions such as heart disease and the presence of fentanyl and methamphetamine, but concluded the death was due to police restraint. And then apparently there's an independent autopsy commissioned by his family, also found asphyxia due to sustained pressure. So what a fucking surprise. Marjorie Taylor Greene is talking abject fucking nonsense again. The Jewish space lasers conspiracy theorist is talking rubbish. Colour me shocked. And the reason that I bring this up in conversation is like not just to mock the ridiculousness of someone like her with her power and influence choosing to use her time and power to back a cause like this. Although, it's worth mocking that regardless. The reason I bring this up is because she's also been in the news this week for this bill to criminalize gender-affirming care advances. Or this one's on Pink News. Marjorie Taylor Greene bill would jail doctors who provide trans youth with gender-affirming care. And they're already, this bill hasn't even passed yet. They're already talking about massively restricting gender-affirming care, even for adults. It was never about the kids. It was never about what's best for the kids. It's always about oppression and control and victimizing and victim blaming. And it's really fucking weird because it's if you look at her two policies that she is lobbying for at the moment, she wants to ignore the results of this autopsy and then this other independent autopsy. She wants to ignore the results of them, overrule the court that found beyond any reasonable doubt that guy was guilty of homicide. She wants to free Derek Chauvin, who murdered a man. She wants to free him, pardon him, but at the same time, jail fucking doctors from caring for people. It's Trump's America now is so fucked. You could pretty soon be living in a country where it's fine to kill a guy, but identifying as a guy, that's a no-no. That is a step too far. You can kill a guy, that's fine. But how dare you identify as one if you were not assigned those genitals at birth? That is too much. That is where they're headed. In land of the fucking free. Over there. Elon Musk is gone as well. Just quickly talk about Elon. I touched on him on the midweek show, didn't I? Sort of mocked the fact that he's leaving politics to return to Tesla. And I always think that's funny because it's the share price went down because of Elon Musk. So the idea that you could improve the share price by having more Elon Musk, I don't think that's the quick fix that you guys are hoping for. Somebody did some stats on this. Apparently, before this week, Donald Trump, on average, posted 4 times every week about Elon Musk. Always bigging him up. Trying to sell his cars for him. Talking about how he's a great American, which I always thought was weird. But then, judging by the visit from the South African guy and showing him the nonsense. Maybe we should just be happy that he even remembers who Elon Musk is. Maybe we should just be grateful it's not like Donald Trump going Elon Musk is a great American. The entire press pulled it that is a photograph of Meg Ryan. Why is she bumming Russ Abbott as well? What the fuck? The final thing I wanted to talk about tonight, just to quickly touch on, and then I'm going to go. Thank you very much for sticking around, guys. The final thing I wanted to talk about was how weird it is that, I don't know if you guys noticed this. So about a week ago, The Onion published a piece, and I saw the preview for it on Instagram, just The Onion headline. and it said, Diddy lawyers are campaigning for a fast trial. They want a fast track, quick trial so that you can skip it and get straight to Trump pardoning him, right? So it's a satirical observation, isn't it? And it's extra potent, or, whatever the word is, pertinent maybe, this week because, now you've got people like Marjorie Taylor Greene treating him. I mean, it's kind of bizarre, isn't it? It should give you pause how often these pardons are being distributed and to whom, and how flagrantly they just go like, I don't care if you were convicted. Yeah, I don't care if it was civil unrest. I don't care if you had a hang Mike Pence thing out there. How radicalized and frog-boiled you were. You're fine with me. Here you go, my signature pal. Like, who was the guy he pardoned last week? It was some fucking crypto scammer. Some guy that was responsible for running a crypto scam, defrauded people. And Donald Trump's like, I like crypto, so yep, there you go. Nutty. So it's an observation, a satirical observation by The Onion about how ridiculous this this pardon culture has become in the White House, and then since then, Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling for the pardoning of Derek Chauvin, and now, literally, like in the last 24 hours, like take a look at this shit. This is on Rolling Stone, but it's published elsewhere. It's not like them making this up. This is a reasonably well-sourced report that is coming out. Sean Combs' allies, which is Diddy's real name, right? Sean Combs, his allies are actively working for a Trump pardon. Like, this is what we mean when we say, like, there's no such thing as satire anymore. When even the satirists, even the headlines from satirical publications like the fucking Onion can fuck around, and within like 24 hours, 48 hours max, it turns out it's actually fucking true. It says longtime Combs associates have spent months cozying up to Trump officials to lay the groundwork for clemency pleas. And it's a bit like what would even be the case for that? How could he possibly say, I'm in line for a pardon, I should be pardoned? What possible defense could Sean Combs present to Team Trump to try to get a pardon out of him? Like, number one, he's black, so he's on the wrong side of the sort of Cold War, race war thing, so that's not really going to work. I suppose, yes, he's a billionaire and he's from New York, isn't he? So they do have that in common. It sounds like they've both sexually abused a few women, allegedly, reportedly, etc., etc. They both deny the charges, all of that stuff. So it's not like they got nothing in common. It's possible maybe they both knew Epstein as well, do you think? I don't know. But honestly, if I was Diddy and I really wanted to get that pardon, and I looked around and I saw who was actively working for pardons right now, no matter how problematic the perpetrator might be. If I was Diddy, honestly, I think I'd be like, oi, Marjorie, come over here, it's me, Diddy. It's me, Diddy, the guy that killed Tupac. Yeah, could you sort us out a pardon? I heard that you sorted people out with pardons, no matter how problematic they might be. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, I killed a black guy too. All right, guys, that's it. This has been fun. Thank you so much for tuning in every Friday night, usually for the live show. I have had to pre-record this one. I'll be back next week with the midweek show on Tuesday or Wednesday. And then live next Friday night. I do the alternative paper reviews every morning, Monday to Friday. If you're not on the Patreon, or if you're not a member of the channel yet, then what are you even fucking doing with your life? Come and join us. Come and join the people of the Booge, the Binfluencer cult, guys. The channel memberships on YouTube, you can just click the join button, right? And it starts at literally £1 a month, people. Okay, it's £1 a month. What the fuck is that? pull it out of your pocket, put it in the tip jar. You fuckers. So you can join it on the YouTube channel thing, or you can join Patreon. There are links to both in most episodes and paper reviews and all of that. But that's it for this one. Take care of yourselves. Keep it booge. Keep it binfluencer. And we are out. This motherfucker. See if you can get Metallica to follow that, you cunts. Just another